It's good enough. Maybe. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here this morning.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 11, Drew Schmidt.
We are experiencing some weather conditions again here in Winnipeg, and we are now going to have to really work together here to understand how to deal with these weather conditions. It is 1-0 Ontario at this point. Communication there on the handoff. Team Ontario approaching there. Trying to put some real pressure here in the first few minutes of this game. Conditions are wet. Expect possibly some turnovers here to start this match as the girls figure out their footing on the wet grass. Team Ontario, Team Saskatchewan haven't played on this field in the wet conditions yet, so they'll be adjusting. Maybe change up the shoes, change the cleats. We're currently experiencing internet issues, so if the stream is a bit choppy, we do apologize, as Ontario has scored their second goal here. Expect a lot of substitutions from both of these teams during this matchup. You can see the coaches.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 16, Hannah Rudge.
Coaches, officials electing to wear hoodies and jackets today. It's a brisk 18 degrees Celsius here in Winnipeg. Stark contrast to Friday where we were experiencing highs of 34. So not only are the girls dealing with their opponents, they're also dealing with the weather conditions here in Winnipeg. Official blows it dead. We'll restart here with Team Saskatchewan. Joined here on the mic by James. I'd like to welcome James here.
Good morning, Noah.
Saskatchewan has scooped it up into the attacking area. Looking for a shot opportunity up front. Lost the handle there. A little bit of push and shoving in there. The official has blown it dead. Granted advantage to Saskatchewan. We'll start with the ball outside of the fan.
One thing to note, Noah, with the weather that we're having here today, we'll just wait here.
Shot on net there by Saskatchewan. Saved away by Danica, goaltender from Team Ontario. Official blows that one dead.
So what I was just saying, Noah, is that with the weather that we're having today, we're having to broadcast this with our cameras inside the booth. So we may lose a little bit of the close corners, but really we're going to be able to have the majority of the field still visible. So we're just going to lose that one little edge there, and other than that, we should be good to go.
Inside, across, hand it off to her teammate. Has a lane there. Elects not to take the shot, instead wrapping around the net. It's number 24, Gabby Torres. Outside there, some jostling, some fighting. Oh, and a big collision up front there. Quickly back up to her feet is Gabby Torres. The officials have blown that dead. The advantage is granted to Team Saskatchewan. Flex the pass. Little off target there. Off of the granted advantage by the officials. Lost the handle of the ball there. He's number 26, Morgan Campbell. Apologies, Sammy Ryu.
I'll say, Noah, that Team Saskatchewan does seem significantly more comfortable the further we get into this tournament. I was speaking to some of the snack moms this morning, and they were telling me that this team actually doesn't play field lacrosse usually. They're a team that plays box lacrosse. So them coming to compete in these nationals, oh, great save. Them coming to play in these nationals, they're a little bit out of their element, and they're needing to learn the game as they're playing it. It's really a wild experience for them, but they're having a great time apparently.
It's interesting. It's pretty neat. You know, it's lacrosse both ways, but very different rules, different players, different field size. Goalie equipment's different. Larger goalie equipment for box lacrosse, so lower scoring games, and a great save there as Team Ontario scoops it up. You know, James, we were talking earlier about the weather here, do you think we can expect a lower scoring match today as the conditions play a factor? Do you think it won't matter too much?
I think that there will be effects both ways. In fact, I think that some of the footing is going to be really poor because the grass could be slick. So that could negatively impact, but that could also negatively impact the defense. So there could be opportunities that are presented that normally wouldn't be presented.
Certainly, James. Official is granted advantage to Team Ontario there. Illegal use, I believe, is the correct term. Rough check is the correct term. We are fortunate here. We have Hannah in the booth with us, the head official, who has been helping from afar all the officials on the field, ensuring that our officials are continuing that high standard they've been all weekend long, because they surely have been very, very good this weekend.
Definitely. And, you know, one of the nice things we have about having Hannah here in the booth with us, she can be our Jean Sterator. And she can be the one that's going to step in and explain some of these rules as some of the calls we don't understand. And so that's just a great opportunity for all of us at home.
Thankful there. We had Hannah there, just told us with a rough check, and another one was called, and Ontario quickly gains the advantage there off the rough check call. 3-0 there. Goal is scored by number 19, Allison Shoemaker. Her OLA association team is the Oshawa Lady Blue Knights. She's from Whitby, so shout out to Allison there for the
Team Ontario goal, scout number 19, Allison Shoemaker.
As you can hear today, I am assuming as we enter into the playoff and medal rounds here, the Manitoba Lacrosse has really extended their coverage of the event. They now have an announcer announcing every goal. So I may forego that and allow the announcer, if you guys can hear it at home, to announce every single goal. And it surely is going to be an action-packed day. We have this first play-in matchup of high stakes here for Team Ontario, Team Saskatchewan, trying to earn the opportunity to play Team BC in the second semifinal of the day that will be occurring at, I believe, 4 o'clock.
So Noah, I just want to comment real quick. Terry S is back at play here. He's in the chat and sharing our experiences here right within the live stream. Welcome back, Terry. He's cheering for Team Ontario and already out here supporting their girls.
I'm sure Terry's happy. Quick 3-0 lead here with about four and some change left in the first quarter of this play-in matchup. Team Ontario surveying their options. Around the fan there. Quickly inside. Pressure is negated by Team Saskatchewan. Looking for cutters. Gets it down below the net. Immediate pressure. She comes up around. Good defensive pressure there by number 21, Olivia, from Christina Peterson. Great play by Christina there. And the cutter's across. Nice pass. And the shot and the score. Bottom right corner. Incredible cut there. Great pass, great find, great reception. That is a nice goal by Katie Wilson, who, James, she cut real well, but it's only one part of the job is the cut. There also needs the nice pass and the nice finish there by Katie. What do you think about that goal right there?
I think it really comes down to the vision that we saw. To me, that was the biggest thing, because you can have all the great cuts, but if the people with the ball don't see them cutting, that's where you really run into problems.
Katie Wilson. 21, Olivia Miner.
And with 2 minutes and 48 seconds left on the clock here in the first quarter, it is 4-0 for Team Ontario. And you'll notice we get a really great view of the draw here. You can see the official making sure that the girls are set up in the correct positions, and just making sure that this is a fair draw.
That close-up view showed every time the official got Team Ontario's hand in the correct position, when he looked the other way, Team Ontario's player maybe unknowingly returned her hand back to the original position, but we're doing our best here. Sometimes that happens, but Team Ontario has possession down below the net. The contrasting styles and defensive approach here, I wonder if it's traditionally how Team Saskatchewan plays in their box lacrosse, a more lackadaisical defense. No, in terms of on-ball pressure is more of the term I'm trying to have here, is they allow more motion, more space.
I think that's exactly it, Noah. So box lacrosse, this Team Saskatchewan is used to playing inside of a hockey rink. And so it's much tighter, really much more closed spaces. And there's just so much space here. There is less contact here than what you have in box lacrosse, where apparently it's quite physical and it gets pretty rough. We were all surprised at how physical this game was. I can't imagine when you get that inside of a confined space. So that probably is a little bit of the reason why other teams are finding it a little easier to get past the defense of Saskatchewan.
And it's gotten down there. Quickly scooped up by Team Ontario. 19, Allison Shoemaker tries to find her teammate there, Olivia, on the left edge. She comes across the lane and the jump.
Wow.
As she's falling down, scores the goal on a side angle. Great goal there by Olivia Starr. Looked Patrick Mahomes-esque, a little football crossover there as she dove full length, making the throw, picking that bottom left corner. Great goal by Olivia there.
It was pretty much almost like a sidearm
Team
throw by
Ontario
Patrick
goal
Mahomes.
scored by number 5, Olivia Starr.
With 30 seconds remaining in this first quarter, Team Ontario is leading 5-0. Leading in shots 8-2. Far end here. As I'm sure as you can hear, the girls are still loud, still passionate despite this worse weather. As Team Ontario approaches the fan, takes the shot, and a great save there by number 40, Morgan Campbell, the goalie for Team Saskatchewan. Really good job there, James. She shuts the door, keeps the deficit to 5. What does Team Saskatchewan need to do in the second quarter to close this game at half?
Well, each game of the tournament, they have gotten stronger. But I would say that with regards to where they really need to improve, they need to improve at trying to figure out how to get offense started. Like right now, they're starting to figure out some of the defensive side of the game, just really transitioning and figuring out that they have that open space. They can drive to the net, because we haven't seen a lot of that from them throughout this tournament. So my recommendation would be start to drive to the net, get those shots on goal, and then from there, then try and get the passes coming from that point. So when you drive and then kick it over to the open side, that's where you see teams like British Columbia, where they start the game out and they're aggressively going to that net. Alberta does the same thing. They're going to the net, which then brings the defenders over, which then opens up that pass. Instead of trying to force the pass early, that's where they're getting into a little bit of trouble.
For sure. Alrighty, we'll take a quick moment here. We'll give a little shout out to our sponsors who make this Red River Streams broadcast possible. And we're back here for the second quarter of action between Team Saskatchewan and Team Ontario. And the officials, I guess, were getting a little warm. All that running up and down, maybe they were a little cold there to start the game, but covering this lengthy field, the sweaters come off, the jackets come off, and we can see the beautiful pinstripes, the white and black. It looks real good.
You know what? Absolutely. These officials have been running all weekend. Like we commented yesterday, the athletes get the opportunity to sub off, but the officials really don't. They're out there running the entire game, so you can understand why they would start to get a little warm.
For sure. As Team Ontario gains possession off the draw. Number 18, Peyton Kemper, bringing it into the offensive zone. Moving it around. Team Ontario, they have quite a bit of structure to the offense. You see a lot of coordinated passes around the fan, as well as coordinated cuts opposite of where the ball is, and it seems like a very conceited effort to get into their offense on every single possession. Yep, exactly. And so Ontario seems to be very strong in their I'll call it half-court offense, similar to basketball. But really, when they're in the offensive zone, that's where they're at their strength. Some of the teams in this tournament really push to have almost like the transition offense, where they're running down the field and attacking really quickly. Ontario seems to like to get set up in this tight offense down low. Back around the net. Good pass as she switches hands there. Efficiently is number 11, Drew. Nice pass in front. And the shot, and another great save. Good start for Morgan Campbell. Despite the 5 goals against, she has been shelled. That is the 10th shot on goal from close proximity, high danger chances, but she's standing her ground here. She's making some big saves to start here for Team Saskatchewan. Yeah, she really has made a big impact already. Even though they're down significantly in the early stages, it could be so much worse. Back behind the net here. You can see the Canadian flag is not soaring today. No wind today. Lots of rain. Cold temperatures. Quick approach to the net, and she finds nice goal there by Peyton Kemper as she brought it from behind the net. Sneakily got across both defenders on the Saskatchewan side and just baited Morgan just a little bit out of her net to give her better angle over the top there, picking on that top left corner to score, I believe, her second goal of the game. Noah, I'll tell you one thing is, as we've been seeing,
Team Ontario goal scored by number 18, Peyton Kemper.
As we've been seeing throughout this tournament, anytime the girls get the ball just outside that little goalie crease, it's almost like a guaranteed goal. It's really hard for those goaltenders to stop that ball. It's just too much net and not enough equipment.
Possession is won by Ontario off the draw. Quickly once again into the offensive zone. Team Ontario, I will say, they look ready to play. They come out here motivated, ready to go. They will. The winner of this game will have a second match today against the very, very dominant Team BC. Team BC led the round robin, undefeated, and incredible goals for and against difference. Leading the tournament in differential, leading the tournament in goals for and goals against as we approach, and a nifty move there by Drew Schmidt as it looked to me and most likely Morgan that she was going to be shooting on the left side, but she turned that racket at the last moment, utilized her stick, and shot to the right side of Morgan Campbell, scoring Team Ontario's 7th goal of the game as we approach the 11-minute mark of the second quarter.
11 minutes remaining.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 11, Drew Schmidt.
They call you color commentator, not color corrector.
At my age, I could use some color correction in the beard, you know what I mean? The draw. I'm impressed. Off the draw, I haven't seen one official lose their footing. I guarantee if I officiated as many games as these officials have officiated this weekend, at least once I would trip over my feet and I would fall flat on my back. So very impressed with these officials and their ability to not lose their footing. Hopefully they have some good cleats for these wet conditions today. Team Saskatchewan has possession in their own zone. It's an interesting question that you actually just brought up with regards to cleats. I'm curious, do the athletes actually wear cleats out there? Yes? About half of them do and half of them don't. What about the officials, Hannah?
Most of them are wearing their own shoes.
Okay.
And then turf shoes are also pretty common amongst the athletes on turf.
So for those of you at home who couldn't hear, when the games are on turf shoes are very common, and about half the athletes would be wearing cleats and half the athletes would be wearing some form of other shoes. We'd love to encourage our viewers back home to, reach out in the live chat. Tell us who you're cheering for. We see Terry's already done that this morning, cheering for Team Ontario. But we'd love to hear from more people.
Inside, shot, off to the right there. Picked up once again by Team Ontario. Behind the net, looking for the approach inside. Brought back, fed inside. Little mishandle there. You can see it's almost as though Team Saskatchewan could hear me from the booth, as you can see their defensive pressure is a little more here as we are past the 9th minute of the second quarter. Oh, nice little fake there. Did not fool the savvy Team Saskatchewan defenders. Fooled me, so great presence by Morgan there. Tries to look for the cutter inside, but it is well defended by Team Saskatchewan, who are out on the run as they pass midfield. They do. Coast to coast is number 28 as she shoots, and she puts it just high. Very nice play there. Do we have, that must not be 28, that must be 26. Sammy Ryu, who brought that coast to coast, putting that shot slightly high above the net. Real nice effort there as she split the defenders. Team Saskatchewan's going to need a lot more of that if they are going to want to compete in this matchup to try and extend their life here at the Jenny Kyle Cup. Team Ontario finds a cutter. Oh, and is scooped up. Was not the intended target, but number 17, Kaylin Martin, was there to pick up the remains, ready to pick up and finish off that pass. Although the pass was meant for the first cutter, it ended up in her racket, in her stick, in her head, and she was able to complete the process there of scoring the 8th goal for Team Ontario.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 17, Cal.
We're getting a real close-up view here.
Off the draw is Ontario. Put inside. And the skipper off. No, a goal there for Team Ontario. Skipping it off the wet turf. Making the score 9-0. Shots on goal heavily favoring Team Ontario. Possession heavily favoring Ontario.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 5, Olivia Starr.
Got a 9-0 lead.
Noah, we've got some repeaters back in our viewership. Gary Johnson is watching again from Carlisle, Saskatchewan, and BJ is back from Ontario. BJ's cheering for Kaylin Martin, just scored a goal a few moments ago.
BJ's in enemy territory, eh? No, sorry. My mistake. I thought he was cheering for Team Saskatchewan.
Yeah, Gary is cheering for Team Saskatchewan. Terry and BJ are cheering for Team Ontario.
I understand.
But who else is out there watching us from afar? Great
Saskatchewan
cycling
with
around
some
here.
sustained pressure. The shot just wide there. Team Saskatchewan generating some chances here. Team Ontario scooped it up. Looks to exit their zone. And there's Danica.
With
It's
a long throw.
Been a trademark move of hers this tournament. Being very active as the goaltender. We had Corinna in here. She also noted how active Danica is compared to the other goaltenders here at this event. Could switch the hands there.
Noah, like we talked about at the end of the first quarter, Team Saskatchewan in this quarter seems like they're pushing more and trying to get more direct action to the net. So that's great to see. So far it hasn't been working yet, but they need to keep trying to do that in order to be able to generate some offense.
Good chance up front. Good pressure from Team Saskatchewan there.
Yeah, they're doing a good job cutting that action off as they're starting to come through the fan.
Inside. Cutting across is
real nice pass.
And just over the top there, that was Zoha with a nice cut. Great feed by number 11, Drew Schmidt. Just couldn't finish it up. Great pass, great setup. Looking for their 10th goal of the game.
I just had a clarification. BJ is actually in California cheering for Team Ontario. This was our viewer yesterday who was coming from California.
Sunny side. I'm sure it's a lot nicer in California than it is right here. Ontario here. Nice cut. Pass is juggled. Like to take a quick moment here and ask our in-booth head official here, Hannah, about this yellow line that appears at about the 30-yard mark, and wondering kind of if you could explain to us and if you could explain to the viewers what it means, what it what it is the significance of that line, who can go past it, what is restricted, so on and so forth.
Sure. So at that line, we're talking about the restraining line, and that's the line that dictates onside and offside. So an attacking team can have no more than 6 players that attack at any one time, and the defensive team plays with 7 players. That can be 6 and a goalie, or that can be 7 defensive players. That's their choice. In this tournament, unless the team's really trying to break a stall, we probably won't see anything other than the 6 and a goalie on defense. And that leaves everybody else to stay behind the line. If there's a card, which means the team's playing down for 2 minutes or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then the team loses a player from their defensive or attacking end of the restraining line. So the defensive team plays down in their attacking and defending ends, or the attacking team plays down in their attacking and defending ends. So it's all about the offside.
Certainly. So can you elaborate what you mean on what is a stall? Stall, you mentioned stall. What does that mean?
A stall meaning a team is holding onto the ball in the offensive end of their field, usually because they're trying to protect a lead, maybe with a couple of minutes remaining in the game. Something that we might see in a closer game, or if a team's leading by a number of goals and they're trying to kill the clock towards the end of the games.
I get it. So then you also mentioned that the team could lose a player in the defensive and attacking zone due to a card.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on what could be a card, what's a possible card infraction, and the difference between a 2-minute, 5-minute, and 10-minute card?
Of course, yeah. So there are 4 different types of fouls in women's lacrosse. Ooh, that was a really lovely shooting space call from our official in the trail position there. So shooting space, a major foul, and that means that player was blocking a safe shot towards the goal. You notice that our athletes don't wear equipment in women's field lacrosse, so safety with the ball is paramount, and that shooting space call protects the defensive players and ensures that shooters are making the decision to take safe shots on goal. But like I was saying before, there's 4 different types of fouls. So we have major fouls like that shooting space. We have minor fouls. Those are like ticky-tack fouls, your empties, your covers, your held stick checks, things like illegal equipment, that type of thing. We have restraining line violations, so offsides. And we have our goal circle violations, so defensive or attacking players doing something wrong in and around the goal circle. Mm-hmm. And any foul can be upgraded to a card. Our cards are kind of like soccer, maybe mixed with a little bit of hockey. So a yellow card could be shown for a 2-minute upgrade of a foul. A player's second yellow card will warrant them a yellow-red card, and that ejects the player from the game if they've received their second yellow card of the game. And then something very flagrant, incredibly reckless, that could warrant a player a red card. And that is an immediate ejection from the game, and that team will play down for 10 minutes.
I understand. Okay. Well, thank you, Hannah. Thank you for that insight. And we will cut to our sponsors here at halftime as we take a 5-minute break. Saskatchewan leads 9-0. Shots are 16-2 in favor of Team Saskatchewan, or Team Ontario. And yes, we will head to our sponsors. As we return here from halftime, we have, I believe, a team. Just a national medical. There at the physio tent working on his golf swing. And I'm sure, James, the look of that swing, it looks like he could have won the Olympics. That happened this morning. Scotty Scheffler, I don't know if you saw, came back and won the gold. And I'm sure that with that beautiful stroke that he has, he's surely better at golf than you are.
You know what? It doesn't take much to be better at golf than me. But thankfully, when you and I play around together, our scores are always pretty similar.
Only when you add your handicap, James.
Well, sure thing. And here we go for the opening draw here in the second half. And we are underway.
Picked up there by Ontario. Back attacking right to left as opposed to left to right in the second quarter. And quickly in the offensive zone. Oh, and she goes for the nifty shot. There's stop. I don't know if that was stopped by the goaltender, Morgan, or by the defense. It was a sort of a group effort, and a rough check is called there on Team Ontario.
I do believe that was actually the goaltender who made that save. Excellent save.
Very good. Saskatchewan, it's a slight advantage here to start. So one of the beautiful things here, James, as we're getting to watch this game here, is as this weekend's gone on, we've been able to learn more and more about lacrosse. We've been able to watch this field lacrosse, and we were fortunate to learn from our in-house specialist Hannah here that in the 2028 Olympics, field lacrosse will be there for the first time, I believe, in LA, and it will instead be in the format of sixes, so it'll be a smaller field with less players on the field, and I believe that is the first time women's field lacrosse will be at the Olympics ever, and so it's very exciting for the women's field lacrosse game, and so it'll be very entertaining. It's similar to the type of field lacrosse we have here in Manitoba, which is sixes, as Ontario pots another goal, top right corner. Very nice shot there by number 21, Olivia Miner. But yeah, we're very excited to have women's field lacrosse growing at such a high rate. I read a statistic that here in Manitoba, just a few years ago, there was a small number of athletes competing, playing under 100, and we've now quadrupled that into the 400s in Manitoba. So we have over 400 athletes here playing field lacrosse, women's field lacrosse. So it's great to see how much the sport has grown in the last few years.
We love to see that
Team
type of
Ontario
growth.
goal scored by number 21, Olivia Miner.
And we want to shout out Mark and Janet Kemper, watching from Mississauga, Ontario, cheering on Peyton. And we also want to shout out Joanne Radcliffe, who is cheering number 3, Rachel, cheering from BC. My mistake, I misread it. Once again, I'm bad at the reading today. She is from cheering for Team Ontario and alerting BC to look out. Joanne Radcliffe, very confident in her team's abilities, hoping for a great result for Team Ontario.
Yeah, I think it's important to also reference the fact that Terry is really enjoying Hannah's contributions to this broadcast today. Thank you, Hannah, for being so involved with us, helping spreading the game to all the people across North America.
Saskatchewan here with some pressure.
Scores!
Scores! The first goal of the game there. None other than number 26, Sammy Ryu, who had that excellent opportunity coast to coast earlier in the match. She picked that one up. Similar, split the defenders, got in tight, and made no mistake this time, netting Saskatchewan their first goal of this game.
That's one of those things that I was talking about earlier. The more they can start to get inside with that ball and get those shots on goal, that's going to give them a chance. If they don't get the shots on goal, they're not going to score. I mean, it's just that simple.
Insightful, James. Insightful.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Certainly, James. Saskatchewan is up to 3 shots in this Sunday morning play-in game with the opportunity to play Team BC in our second semifinal of today's action.
Team Sask goal scored by number 26, Sammy Ryu.
You can hear the Team Saskatchewan faithful hopefully on the broadcast. We can hear them inside the booth despite the deficit being 9 as Ontario leads 10-1. The Saskatchewan faithful are extremely excited for their girls, cheering them on at any single moment of this game. Hopefully Team Saskatchewan can build on that as they have some offensive pressure here. Cycling around the fan, cutting inside. Pass is intercepted by Team Ontario.
That pass appeared to be just a little too long, gave a little bit too much time for the Ontario defender to be able to get there and help disrupt the pass.
Team Saskatchewan approaches. Has a lane here. It's possible. The official has thrown up the flag. It's something we learned there from Corinna yesterday. It's the attacking zone flag. Is that correct, Hannah?
Absolutely. So the official there recognized that the Team Ontario player number 15 had been standing in 3 seconds. This is another major foul, and it's involving not wanting to occupy space in front of the goal for more than 3 seconds. It's very similar to the basketball 3 in the key rule. So identified the foul, threw the flag up to allow the play to continue to goal in case they were able to work through that foul. And they weren't, so she blew the whistle, and they got set up on that free position.
Thank you, Hannah. No, it's very similar to soccer, I guess, like you explained earlier, that like in soccer, the advantage is identified if there's a foul, but it is only called if the advantage is lost by the team with the ball, as Team Ontario has a great possession there, and the skipper from number 17, Kaylin Martin. Great goal there. I'm sure BJ in California is excited for Kaylin there. She scores there. The beautiful goal, the nice skipper that bounced right before Morgan and into the top right corner. So I'm sure BJ is happy there at home.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 17, Cal Martin.
And here we go as we get ready for the draw again. As we learned with Karina yesterday, it's not a face-off, it's a draw.
Looked like a hold.
Yep,
Held stick check. So Team Ontario has possession now. Looking for area. For some field to play with. Good cut inside. And a nice goal there. She absorbed the contact there. That was Olivia. A very dynamic offensive player. That is, I believe, her 3rd goal of the game today. She absorbed that contact from Team Saskatchewan and was able to secure Ontario's 12th goal of the game as we approach the 7-minute mark, the halfway point of this 3rd quarter.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 5, Olivia Starr.
15 divided by 2 is 7.5. I have my production team arguing with me, but what? Good thing I passed 3rd grade math. And that's why he's production and not commentary. Just jokes here. We're very loving. Like to have fun here in the box here as we watch these great girls play. Nifty maneuvers there. She splits the defenders. The rain has seemed to calm down here. We still see some spitting here and there from the sky.
It's usually where rain comes from, Noah.
Thank you. And that's why I failed grade 3
Science.
And here we go around the fan. Good stick there. Looked like from number 2, Amy Brown, just out of her reach, however. Taking their time here. Official ducking and weaving out of the way. Great work by the official. Play slow down here. Our head official Hannah was seemingly wanting a call there, and we'll see if we can get her to explain kind of what she saw.
So in these moments, I'm actually working on some evaluations for our officials this weekend. We're looking for consistency in application of our rules and positioning to try and make sure that our teams have the best possible experience at this event. And I'm looking for some movement from our officials in that to get into the best spot to see the foul that's potentially going to occur between two players in that moment. And I'm getting a little animated, and the boys mistook that for me wanting the microphone.
No, she's just trying her best to make sure that we have the great game here. So it's very important the officials are in the right position. They have been in the right position all weekend.
Yeah.
Making the great calls, making sure this game is fair and fun for both teams. As number 22, Lazel Stata, I apologize if I mispronounced that name. Maybe we can have someone in the chat chime in, let us know if that is pronounced correctly. She is from the Owen Sound minor and senior lacrosse team. Her hometown is Owen Sound.
By the way, Noah, I can tell you
Team
that...
Ontario goal scored
Just
by
a second.
number 22, Liesel Stata.
You pronounce it the same way as me, so maybe we're both right or both wrong.
Well, I've gotten clarification by Matt Martin that number 17 is actually pronounced Callan. Or at least that's how I read his message.
Yeah, no, that
Callan.
makes sense. Well, thank you, Matt, for that. We'll make sure we pronounce that correctly. I will try. I may mispronounce it again, but I will try. I promise you that. Advantage granted to Team Ontario.
No, I'm not sure Hannah has heard your reference as far as what we call hockey around here.
Well, what we call hockey a poor man's lacrosse, because lacrosse has much better rules. It's much more of a offensive styled game with plays, with tempo,
High paced,
and we have been making that reference all weekend long that hockey is a poor man's lacrosse, and there's a reason that lacrosse is our national game here in Canada, not hockey, because as I've watched this weekend, field lacrosse is much superior to hockey.
It's both. It's winter and summer.
Oh, it's both. I stand corrected, guys. I stand corrected. And that is why I'm a poor man's Tony Romo. Not too keen here on the. Wow, that is what you call a Romo, yes. But I always thought that lacrosse was the national sport.
I always thought it was too, and it is. It's both. Lacrosse is the summer sport. Hockey is the winter sport.
I think that's selfish. I don't think we could claim two sports to be our national sports.
I think we do.
Yeah. It's very un-Canadian of us.
I'm not going to go where I was going to go with this, but we're just going to move on from this comment. Let's go back to the fast pace of this event. One of the things that we've been talking about a little bit here is the fact that all around the outside of the field, they've got a bunch of balls just scattered everywhere to really help speed up that pace of play. And the rules of, when it goes out the back line, the person that is closest to the end line gets the ball, and they just scoop the closest ball. Like, that really helps the pace of play and makes this such an exciting game.
Team Ontario goal scored by number 5.
Just on the shot.
Star.
It's okay, pass it.
So just to clarify, anytime there's a shot, the official is going to announce that it was a shot, and that's when it's closest to the ball, gets the ball, when it exits, and where it exits the end line. And that's why we have those 2 big yellow dots behind the net. We can never restart play within 15 meters of goal. So if the ball went out directly behind the goal, it's going to the nearest dot, and it's a self-start for the boundary ball. If the ball was just thrown out of bounds, it's going to the opposite team, and that's a turnover.
Interesting. Thank you for that clarification there, Hannah. James, I think you'd be very good at field lacrosse because you have a tendency to find the closest ball when you hit one into the bush and claiming it as yours. So that certainly helps out your game. Maybe that's why we're closer in score than we should be.
I try and tell people, I find the ball and then
Saskatchewan? And a good save there by
save.
Danica.
I try and find the closest ball and then I make sure I tell you, this is the one I'm playing. I also typically have 3 or 4 balls in my pocket, and I know what they are, so those are also the balls I'm playing.
And the feet inside. Yeah. Well, that's one thing here with the women's field lacrosse game here at the Jenny Kyle Cup. These ladies are honest, as opposed to our color commentator James on the greens.
I don't know. They call me Honest James.
And here's Team Ontario. Good stick work there by Team Saskatchewan. Interestingly enough, that may be something I want to ask Hannah about after. I saw a player there outside of the attacking zone sort of grab the ball with her stick that was near the line, and I figure my best guess is players are allowed to use their sticks across the line but are not able to cross the line. I'm sure that is correct, as she's nodding yes. So I feel like that is a pretty sufficient explanation as the time expires here. Team Ontario leads 14-1. Shots heavily favoring
At 22-4.
at 22-4 as we enter into the fourth quarter here. We'll take a quick moment here to acknowledge our sponsors before the exciting fourth quarter happens.
World Championships next week.
Yeah.
We're live. We're live.
So yeah, big part of the game to acknowledge that indigeneity.
That's
Zoom. So we do want to see here the lacrosse. So we clarified here between the break that lacrosse and hockey are both national sports here in Canada. And we did want to speak to Hannah here. There is a purple flag here that we weren't too familiar with, and Hannah has really tuned us in here, and I'm sure she has some insight here to provide to the viewers.
So a flag that in Ontario we're really familiar with. We have a team in Ontario, the Six Nations lacrosse organization, who frequently brings that flag. It's the Haudenosaunee flag, and it's the flag representing the Haudenosaunee Nation, which is an Indigenous nation based across the Ontario and U.S. border. And they are big in the international lacrosse scene. Team Haudenosaunee on the men's, women's box side, always representing very well at World Championships. And for us to recognize the indigeneity of our sport being the creators game, always very important at a national tournament like this. Very much hoping to see the First Nations Lacrosse Association attend the Jenny Kyle Cup in the future, and continuing to show their dominance as an international lacrosse organization.
Certainly, yes. No, it's great to see. It's great to see that we acknowledge the incredible sport that they founded, that they perfected, and we can only draw inspiration from the Six Nations there in Ontario. And some of these girls are doing their very best, performing at a high level that I'm sure any future, current, and past lacrosse athlete would be very, very proud to see happening here. So as we continue, my apologies on the camera there.
That's you kicking it.
I apologized.
I thought you were apologizing for our cameraman, but it's
Why?
actually you're apologizing for.
Yes, that's why I apologized.
That's good. We accept your apology.
Thank you. Thank you, James.
Well, I can tell you guys who are not local here to us, that it appears that the rain has stopped here. So after this game, we're going to try and get our camera back up on the roof where we're able to see the entire field without having to be behind the glass. And Team Ontario seems to be just cycling it around the outside at this point, just looking for where they can get an opportunity to properly enter into the zone. And Team Ontario working it around, with the ball number 6 down to passes the ball down to number 11. Number 19 behind the net calling for the ball. Hasn't come yet. Number 11 works her way back down. That would be Drew with the ball. Oh, she tries to pass inside. Cannot complete the pass. Saskatchewan comes up with it. A little bit of contact, but there's the whistle. And we have rejected our producer's request for an explanation on what that call was. We're just going to move forward here and just say, you know what, they got it right. Let's just acknowledge that it was right and move along.
Back there, experiencing technical difficulties with my headset.
But we're back alive. That's all that matters. And by technical difficulties, Noah, what was the real story?
I was hungry and I ate a Rice Krispies bar.
So the technical difficulties was really the growling of your stomach.
Surely. Alrighty, here's Team Ontario. Let's focus back on this phenomenal game here. Team Ontario is up 14-1 with 12 minutes. We do want to shout out Kennedy cheering for Team Saskatchewan as they approach into the front court here, front area. She enters into the fan, quickly met by some defenders. An official calls a block. Similar symbolism, or I guess action, as in basketball. When there's a block, it's 2 hands to the hips. And we also want to mimic Terry's sentiment and thank our sponsors, Baltic Athletics, Gilles Lambert Pest Control, Book Peasy, and OxyFresh, the generous sponsors who allow for this broadcast to happen so that people from across Canada, North America, and abroad are able to watch their athletes play. A great play by Team Saskatchewan there. Just missed off of that left short corner. That was a good attempt there, James. What do you think about that offensive possession?
I thought that was one of the better offensive opportunities for Team Saskatchewan. They're starting to figure this out. They're starting to understand that there is more space. As you were bringing up earlier, the sponsors, we are always looking for sponsors. If there is people, great opportunity here for Ontario, and they put it in. Who got that one? Was that number 17? Callan.
Callan Martin. There you go. See, Callan Martin, who plays for the Six Nations Lacrosse.
Matt, please let us know if we said it right that time. Reading phonetically is not necessarily my biggest strength.
So I'm just curious, she plays for Six Nations Lacrosse. Would that be associated at all with?
So any Six Nations players who are playing in that Ontario Women's Field Lacrosse organization would be eligible to try out for Team Ontario. Were the First Nations Lacrosse Association to send a team to this tournament, they'd be able to try out for either of those organizations, which is kind of cool.
Thank you for that insight, Hannah.
I think it's kind of refreshing. I'll just comment on this. It's kind of refreshing to have, somebody in the booth that can explain some of these things to us.
Team Ontario scoops it up. Pressure there. Nice outlet find there. Team Ontario has numbers here. Yeah, we do want to iterate. If we were to do future events here for lacrosse national events, we would love sponsors from across Canada. We offer different various tiered package systems and ability to sponsor your team, be able to have your company sponsor specific teams, specific players. So certainly you can reach out to us at team@redriverstreams.com and inquire more. We certainly would love to have more sponsors able to provide this great quality live stream to the viewers at home.
I would also add to that, if somebody is an organizer of an event and they're looking to have live streaming brought to that event, please feel free to reach out to us at Red River Streams. You can find us on Instagram, or you can email us directly at team@redriverstreams.com.
Eight minutes remaining here in this 11 a.m. play-in game. It does look, James, that Ontario has sealed it off, and it's just a matter of the time expiring for them to play Team BC. So I'm curious to know, James, what do you think Team Ontario needs to do to take on this extremely dominant BC team?
You know what? I'll say this. It's not going to be easy for them as they head into this next matchup against Team British Columbia. British Columbia is strong on both ends of the field. Their goaltending is strong. Their defense is strong. Their offense is electric. So I think that if Ontario stands any chance, they have to figure out how to stop Team British Columbia from getting in close to their goalie. If they can keep everything a little more on the outside, slow down their attack, hold them to just this sort of offensive zone attack and not give up those quick rushes, I think that's going to give them a chance. But without, they almost have to play a perfect game in order to be able to compete with Team British Columbia. I see what our producer is trying to tell us here. Team British Columbia actually has 5 of the top 6 scorers in this tournament.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it shows how well balanced they are, how efficient they are in the attacking zone. It's quite a spectacle to watch as Team Ontario has a possession there and they score off of the foul called there outside of the fan. That's number 10, Zoha Lila, from the Toronto Beaches Lacrosse Association.
I'm going to add even more context to that 5 out of 6. They actually have 8 of the top 11 scorers in this tournament.
Wow.
That is a dominant number.
Well, it is apparent in their goals for. They are leading the tournament by quite a large margin in goals for.
Huge goal from number 10, Zoha!
I think we had a change in field announcer here.
It appears that was one of the Team Ontario players that they let announce that goal.
Ah, very nice.
It was number 19 actually announced that goal.
Allison Shoemaker from Whitby, Ontario.
She seemed quite excited for her teammates.
And here we have Saskatchewan. Oh, nice little move in front. Has a chance. Takes the shot. No. Official had the flag up.
Once you shoot, the flag is open.
Once you shoot, according to Hannah, I'm sure she's very knowledgeable. Actually, she knows the rules. But once she shoots, the flag is nullified. No foul can be called because it is deemed that they were able to finish their offensive possession. I believe. I may be making that part up, but what I can guarantee you is that once you shoot, the flag goes down. That's number 1.
You know, Noah, I was actually earlier in the concession area, and I saw some people talking, and they were all holding the balls. that they used during the match. And I was really surprised at the weight of the balls. One of the people actually showed me a picture of a bruise they got from getting hit by a ball on the leg. And it literally, the balls feel like a cross between a baseball and a tennis ball.
So I've got some permanent bruises from my playing days about 15 years ago.
And so Hannah, the head official here, just showed us a bruise that she has on her leg that is from 15 years ago when she was playing field lacrosse. And that just goes to show how hard this ball is. And I was kind of wondering earlier when Hannah explained to me the 3-second rule where they couldn't stand in front of the net, and I'm thinking, well, it must not hurt that much. But as she just showed me, and as I will go after this game to grab one of those balls to see how heavy they are, and I'm sure these girls are able to fire it out of their stick at quite the pace, I now understand that rule because I wouldn't want to get hit with that. You know, James, when I was a kid and playing baseball,
I know where this story is going already.
when I was a kid, I was quite terrified. I was just a young boy. I was scared of the ball when I was batting. I did not want to get hit. So one day, my dad brought me outside where we always would play catch once a day. My dad is in fact James, the color commentator here. And he would bring me outside as another goal is scored there by Team Ontario with 3 minutes remaining in this game. I think they're just doing run clock here. Does the clock keep going? Oh, I thought it stopped.
Even in the last 3 minutes?
Last 2 minutes.
Oh, last 2 minutes. That's why they're not stopping the clock yet.
Alrighty, they're not doing run clock. Anyways,
I mean, they are.
back to my story. So when I was a young boy, I was quite terrified of the baseball, and I'm assuming this might be a little bit
Scored by number 3, Rachel Albanese.
different than the lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball is quite hard, and to get over my fear, James brought me to the back where we play catch every single day and said, drop your glove. I'm going to show you that the ball does not hurt. James would throw the ball, and then the ball did not hurt, and I got over my fear. And I'm assuming that that's why in lacrosse there's a 3-second rule, because if James did that with the lacrosse ball, the ball would in fact hurt. So we move along there. It was a great learning lesson for me to overcome my fears, and something I keep with me.
Well, just to be clear, just so people don't think I'm an abusive parent, I do want to clarify that I was throwing the ball very lightly and not trying to hurt you. It was all really just to build up your confidence as you were stepping into the box to try and hit that baseball. I mean, goodness knows, I'll tell you another story if we're going with stories. I remember one of your earlier games in your baseball career where you were playing as, I think, about a 6-year-old, playing with kids that were 9 and 10 years old, so significantly older than you. And you were terrified of the ball when the pitches were coming in. And as such, you went to one of your teammates who was a pitcher for our team, and you said to our pitcher, hey, don't throw it so hard to them, and maybe they won't throw it so hard at us. You thought that was going to work, but unfortunately, that's not the way sports goes.
No, unfortunately. And maybe that is why there's age limits in games, but when I was looking at some of the rosters here, there's quite a few 16-year-olds playing here at this U19. So courage to these 16-year-olds. It shows their testament, their dedication to the creator sport here at lacrosse.
You know, just speaking of that, I need to talk about some of the chat that's going on in the live chat. There's some really, really good content going on here. So there's a lot of people between Mark Kemper, Michelle Albanese, cheering for Team Ontario. But then Matt Martin reached out and, yes, confirmed that we're saying Callan's name properly. But also wanted to mention that she played for, and I'm not going to pronounce this name right, Haudenosaunee last year. Haudenosaunee. Close. We're working on that one. Okay. She did play for that team last year in the Brogden Cup. So it's really important to mention that.
Show Team Saskatchewan.
And also, I'm gonna mention what Terry said in the chat. Hold your heads high, Team Saskatchewan. The transition from box to field is hard. You've played great. You're pivotal. You are pivotal in growing the creators game in Saskatchewan. So great call out, Terry. Thanks for acknowledging the team from Saskatchewan. They are doing some good work out here, learning the game. And, you know, Mark Kemper is cheering, you know, go Peyton, Rachel, and Drew. Kennedy is cheering for number 91 on Team Saskatchewan, who's only 14 years old.
Kinley Watson. Wow.
Only 14 years old, playing in a 19U Nationals team event. That is really incredible.
And she is actually right there. I think I see her, and she's one of the bigger players on the team. A lot taller. Wow. Could be a potential Jenny Kyle Cup standout there, number 19.
14. 91.
91.
We're not good at math either, apparently. We failed grade 1 math. We may have passed grade 3, but not number 1.
Thank you guys for joining us here in the first play-in game of the Jenny Kyle Cup, hosted here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The final score is 17-1. We enjoy. We thank you guys for joining our broadcast. We thank Hannah for the insight into the tournament. I apologize for putting Hannah on the spot there with that earlier call about the officials. I probably shouldn't bring it again. This is what I do. I bring it up and then I get myself in trouble again. But here we go. We got a 17-1. Team Ontario will advance to play Team BC in our second semifinal today. And Team Saskatchewan, although they are leaving this tournament in 5th place, should hold their heads high as they take a team photo, as our producer will zoom in on them.
It's true. It's their backs. We probably won't zoom in on their backs. If they had been facing this way for the picture, it would have made a much nicer picture.
We may, you know, depending on how clear our window is, we may be able to be part of this picture in the photo bomb. So get your best smiles. If you see us, we are the 3 lunatics in the booth, and we have enjoyed this first play-in game. And we'll take a quick moment from our sponsors, and we look forward to seeing Team Ontario viewers at our second semifinal against Team BC. Thank you very much.
Live on our phones.
And it didn't bush, right?